Hey everybody, Joe Saunders here for the Managing Violence podcast. I am so excited to be coming to the UK for the first time ever in March, April 2022. If you don't know anything about me, my background is fairly unique. I started off in traditional martial arts, migrated my way to combat sports where I was able to represent Australia in the sports of judo, belt wrestling and sumo wrestling, of all things. Also did a fair bit of time indoor work, in bodyguarding, in protective security. That led to me taking an interest in reality-based self-defense, where I became an instructor in Senshido under Richard Dimitri, and most recently became an instructor in Gendai Krav Maga under Dr. Gabrielle Schneider. I also have a long history and experience in the psychology of violence, and in particular verbal de-escalation, which is how I make my money these days. Training big corporations and little corporations and everyone in between how to manage and avoid violent and aggressive behaviors. I look forward to bringing that pedigree and everything that I teach to the UK in March and April 2022. I'm starting off in Oxfordshire with Mary Stevens on the 26th and the 27th of March. We are going to be doing the Managing Violence Masterclass weekend, where the first day is all about social violence. It's all about understanding the mindset of social interactions that turn violent, conflict management, how to identify those situations, how to avoid those situations, what to do if you're trapped in that situation, how can you de-escalate it, how can you get out of it. If you can't get out of it, how do you respond to it safely, physically, in a way that obviously gets you to safety, but also doesn't end up with you in prison, because most altercations outside a chip shop don't need to result in someone having to go to jail and someone having to go to a morgue. So how do we respond to those situations safely? That's all day one of the masterclass. Day two of the masterclass is about predatory violence. So that's about how to deal with people that may mean you harm, regardless of what you do and what you say. So we're going to be, again, looking more deeply into the psychology of predators, of violent behaviors, identifying those problematic behaviors early on, whether that's in relationships, whether it's with employees, whether it's within family members, people that you may be close to, and how do we defend ourselves in those violent predatory situations where perhaps de-escalation isn't an option, and we have to deal with the situation a little bit more forcefully. That's all going to be day two. So it's day one and day two, a weekend masterclass with Mary Stevens in Oxford. And then the following weekend, I'm in Birmingham with Tommy Joe Moore. We are going to be sharing the stage on April 2nd and 3rd. I'm going to be doing some, Tommy's going to be doing some, he's going to be doing some bartitsu, some combative stuff. I'm going to be talking about the combative applications of sumo wrestling, which is not a seminar you've ever been to before, I guarantee it. I love traditional martial arts, I love combat sports, and I think sumo wrestling might well be the best combination of those two things, but I also love applying it to real world violence and how we can go about using those concepts from sumo wrestling to better protect ourselves. And there is a fair bit there to learn. So that's day one with Tommy. The second day with Tommy, I'm diving more into the psychology of violence and de-escalation material again. How do we prevent violent behaviors? How do we respond to those as a gentleman or as a lady, to tie in with the bartitsu theme, but also how do we manage that in our day-to-day lives without having to actually belt somebody, and if we do have to belt someone, making sure we are very justified in doing so. And then my last weekend in the UK is going to be the 9th and 10th of April, hosted by Self-Defense Global. We are going to do the Managing Violence Masterclass weekend again. So day one, social violence. Day two, predatory violence. That's going to be hosted by Self-Defense Global in Cambridge. So I am so thoroughly looking forward to coming out. It's going to be 3 weekends, but I'm also available during the week. So if you've got a club, if you've got a dojo, if you'd like me to come along and teach something, if you'd like me to visit your workplace, if you'd like me to do a keynote, I am available for absolutely everything that I normally do in Australia, except I'm happy to do it in the UK. So super happy to take any bookings. And hey, if you're just somewhere in Europe and you want to fly me out during the week to come teach and then I'll come back to the UK, I want to be busy. I want to work my butt off. I want to make sure that by the time I get back, I'm ready for a holiday. So I am up and open for everything. I want to meet as many of you as possible. I want to have as many pints as possible. And I want to make sure that that we get to make some people safer. So that's it. Joe Saunders, Managing Violence podcast. I'm in the UK from the 26th of March through until the 10th of April, give or take a few days here and there. Please make sure you start booking your tickets now, because it's going to be a fantastic tour. I look forward to meeting you all very, very soon.